Tying up Carrie Stevens streamer today. This is called the Big Ben. Last week I did a fly of hers, a streamer of hers called the Governor. These two are kind of similar in that the wings on these are a yellow grizzly kind of look and effect. This one is a white base feather with a yellow dyed Grizzly Hackle on the outside of it. And it just gives it a nice barring and contrast color to it. This one also has a shoulder of golden pheasant, which makes it a little bright, and an eye of jungle cock in it. But the throat on this one also is some yellow dyed Grizzly Hackle. It's a nice little fly, straightforward, uses a wing, and it also has silver pheasant crest in it. But I had to use a black dyed gold pheasant crest because I don't have any silver pheasant crest. So that is Carrie Stevens Big Ben. I'll get started tying. Start the Big Ben with my hook and the vise. This is a Mustad R79 in a size 2. Go ahead and debarb the hook. I'm going to attach my thread. I'm beginning this with some white thread because I have a red floss base. Excuse me, I have a red floss body in this, so I need a light colored base. And that's why I'm using a white thread. This is a 310 Denier Wapsi UTC. I'm using the 310 simply because I can flattens out nice and I can go from one end of the hook shank to the other a little bit quicker. I've used a 140 denier in some videos and even tied with Danville 6/0. You could do that, certainly. It just a little more wraps. Takes a little bit longer, that's all. Try and get nice touching turns so that we have a nice, even, smooth base. I'm just counter spinning the bobbin here a little bit just to flatten the thread out. You don't have to do that. But as you'll see, when we get everything tied in and wrapped up, the white will mask over the darker hook, and it helps that red floss pop a little bit more. There is no tail on this fly. There is a tip and a rib, which is a silver tinsel, and I'm using a Danville size 12 silver and gold Mylar tinsel. I'm going to tie this in with the gold side up. And I'm going to keep wrapping down till I go just past the point of the hook. This is the space where the tip will be. And I'll bring my thread back up almost to where I tied it in. And that's where I'll tie in the floss. Because there's no tail on this, I can put the floss in and then put the tip in and go right into putting the rib in as well. For floss, I'm using a Danville 4-strand Rayon floss in red. And I'm going to tie this in so that it is the length of the body. A couple of ways you could do this. You could anchor this in and then get a wrap or two in and then cut this to the length that you want, or you could, once you wrap that in, a couple wraps, you can pull it to the left to bring that up the length that you want. Now we'll wrap our thread back forward. You could flatten this out too if you want. on the way back up. It's up to you. Just make certain you're not putting so much thread torque in here that you are pulling that floss around the hook shank. You don't want it to, you want it all to go down one side. You don't want it to start going around and then end up kind of spiraling around. Thread is up at the end of the body, starting to get into the headspace, which is fine. That's where I'm going to wrap in the body and then the tip and the rib. Flicking my hands here a little bit because the floss it's very, very delicate rayon and has a tendency to get hung up on hangnails on your hands. And still being early in the year, humidity is still kind of down, low I should say. Hands tend to be kind of dry, so sometimes when you're bringing this over like this and you're going to let go of the floss, it kind of hangs onto your hands just a little bit, or it shreds it a little. I kind of have to flick my hands just a little bit to keep that from catching on my hands. So with the body tied in, I'm now going to wrap in the tip. And then once that's in, I can immediately go into putting in the rib. Make certain you're getting all of those wraps in nice and evenly spaced. There is an underbelly, or I should say a belly, on the Big Ben, and it is some bucktail. I'm going to go ahead and tie that in. It's just some white bucktail. And then once I have that tied in, I will change over to my next thread. So I take the bucktail, I want to tie that in so it's just past the bend of the hook. Keeping that all right up on the bottom. Trim away the excess. Smooth this off just a little bit. And now I can change over to my next thread. The head on the Big Ben is black with an orange stripe. So I'm using some Uni-Thread pumpkin color. It's kind of a bright orange as the base for the orange stripe. And then we'll attach some black thread later to put in the two black bands on each side to make it look like a black head with an orange band. Get my thread down about the end of the head space there. There is an underwing on this, or part of the wing, I should say, is silver pheasant crest, which is black, but I don't have any silver pheasant crest, so I'm using some golden pheasant that has been dyed black. I'll just get a nice long feather here, placing this right near on the top. I'm going to just get a couple wraps around to secure that, and then I'm going to pull this to my right and get that to be the same length as the belly. Then I'll put a few wraps in to secure it and trim away the excess. This one's wanting to curve on me a little bit, but I wouldn't worry about it because in the water it's going to swim just fine. The throat on the Big Ben is some Grizzly Yellow Hackle fibers, barbs, I should say. I'm going to go ahead and I've got those collected. I've got 3 groups. You're going to want the throat about halfway down the body. I'm going to tie one in right underneath. And the other 2 will be tied on the sides, angling downward, like so. If you could get all of this tied in one group, that would be fine. I generally find it is easier to get this all done in 3 separate batches. And then I'll tie the other one on my side. And then I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we're ready to tie in our wing. So I tidied this up for 2 reasons. One, just to collect everything together, make it look a little bit better. It's going to give me also a nicer base for the head. And then also it's all nice and smooth and level for the wings. The wings on the Big Ben, as I had mentioned, are similar to the governor that I did before, Carrie Stevens governor streamer, with the exception these are a white base color behind there, and then it's a Grizzly Hackle that's dyed yellow on the outside. Now, typically the Yellow Hackles will go to the end of the white Hackles on these wings. I had a set of them, for whatever reason, they came up short. So these are just a little bit short. She does have some flies where that's what she does intentionally. She'll have one a little bit shorter, just going to swim in the water and present, colors and variations just a little bit different than having them full length. Aside from that, the wing is golden pheasant crest and an eye of jungle cock. So I'm going to match those up, and then I'm going to trim away the ends of the rachis so I have just enough to tie those in. I'm going to tie those in on each side towards the top of the head space. When you are tying these flies, especially if you're going to do more than one or two with the wings, you want to kind of batch the wings out. I've got another video on how I create these wings with and without shoulders and prep those ahead of time, because these are all cemented together. The white and the Grizzly Hackle yellow are all cemented together, and then a little bit more cement for the shoulder and a little bit more for the eye using rubber cement. Anyway, it makes it a lot easier to tie these in, but when you batch these out, for whatever reason, sometimes some feathers, you pick them out and they're just not quite the length you wanted, but they'll do. I mean, certainly as a fishing fly, this will do just fine. So now I'm going to double check. I want my wings to be all even. These are. Now I'm going to clean up the head area, getting a nice, even, smooth base of orange. So I have all of that covered pretty good. Go ahead and put in a 9 or 10 turn whip finish. That will secure the orange thread. Now I'm going to use some Danville 6/0 in black for the two bands. I'm going to start the rear band first. You're essentially dividing the headspace into 3 segments: a black band in the back, an orange band in the middle, and then another black band up front. And I'll trim away the thread. And I just want to make certain I'm just covering up the orange with the black. I don't want to bulk this up. Again, as a fishing fly, if you're doing this and you get a little bit of a gap in there, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. Careful with your whip finish here, as you don't want to pull any of that thread in a direction and end up shifting it around, which I had a little bit shift back on me there, but I think once I get some lacquer on that, that'll be fine. Now I'm going to attach my black thread right behind the eye of the hook and do the same thing, just wrapping backwards to anchor down the tag end of thread, and then keep going back to get a black band in the front and divide that head on up. trim away my thread. I will put some head cement on here. This fly tight will soak down into all of those thread wraps and secure them real well. If you look closely, I have a thread wrap here that I think shifted on me when I did the whip finish. There's another one where I've got just a slight little gap. You can see some orange there, but I think, like I said, for fishing, I think it's going to work out just fine. So in a moment, I'll come back and I'll put some clear lacquer on that, just a coat or two to help reinforce those thread wraps and make them a little bit more secure. And our Big Ben is complete. Like I said, normally the yellow grizzly would extend all the way out to the white. And then on this one also, the tips are all even here and square, but somehow my shoulders ended up just a little bit off. The fish aren't going to be that concerned about it. I don't think you should be that concerned about it, especially if it's a fishing fly. Now, if you're going to mount this, or if you're going to present this to somebody or something like that, then once again, this is not one that you would do that with. Again, if you're going to be tying these to present and frame or something, generally you're going to tie up a half a dozen of them, maybe a dozen, to get to the point where you really get that one or two that really looks good, and that's what you're looking for. That is Carrie Stevens Big Ben, very similar to, as I mentioned, the Governor that I did another video on. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. But what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.